Hi, my name is Billy and I'm here at the Waterwise Community Center, which is on traditional Tongva land. Today, we're going to be learning about the water cycle. But before we get there, we need to find out what water does and why it's so important and why we should save it. Pause the video and take some time to think about what you use water for and why it's important. Good job! Did you think about the water that's used to grow our food? Or that plants, animals, and even people use water to survive? Or maybe did you think of other things? All of those answers are totally correct because we use water in so many different ways. Now that we know that it's important, we have to learn about its different phases. So what happens to ice cubes when they're out in the hot sun? They melt, of course. That phase change or form change is because of the temperature around the water. Water has three different forms or phases that it can be in. Liquid, like the water that we drink. Solid, like these ice cubes here. And gas, like the water vapor that is all around us. Now that we've learned the phases of water, let's learn a dance that'll help us remember those phases of water even better. Our first phase will be liquid water. So if you move your arms just like this, you'll act like liquid water in a cup or in any kind of container. After liquid water gets really cold, we find that it starts to slow down and become solid water, just like an ice cube. So this will be our ice cube dance. So I'm now solid ice. What happens when I get really warm? Well, just like we saw, I'm going to start to melt and become liquid water once again. Now that I'm liquid water, when I get really warm, I'm going to start to heat up and move, and I will become gas water up in our atmosphere and all around us actually. So now that we know our dance moves for the three phases of water, let's go look for water out in our garden and see what we can find. Now that we have a dance that tells us about the different phases of water, let's learn another dance. This time, one that'll tell us where water goes in the water cycle. This dance will start right up in the clouds. When they get dark and heavy, what do you think happens? Well, it begins to rain. To show the first step of rain, you can stand up and get ready to dance. Our first move is going to be our hands up in the air, just like in the clouds. And then our hands will become the rain. So that's our first step. So after rain has fallen on us and all of the surfaces around us, where do you think that water goes? Well, we can learn where it goes by using this water here. So I'm gonna pour this into our bioswale here and see where it goes. That water went down into the ground, which is the next step of our dance. That water has already fallen on the ground, and the next thing it's gonna do, like we saw outside, is it's gonna go down into the ground. So that's our next move. So now that the water is in the ground, there are things that can use that water to grow big and healthy. Can you tell me what those are? They're plants. Plants use the roots that are in the ground to drink up that water, and they use it to grow big, beautiful leaves. So just like we saw outside, plants use that water to grow beautiful leaves. So our next dance move, we'll have our hands on the ground, just like the water before, and it will become the plant, drink up that water, and grow beautiful leaves. Great job, everyone. We've already learned half of the water cycle dance, and now it's time to learn a little bit more. In fact, it's time to ask the question, what makes the water cycle move? Well, do you know? If you don't, I'll give you a hint. It's something big, bright, and high up in the sky. Do you think you know the answer? It's the sun. The sun allows the water to move in all of its different phases in the water cycle. So that will be our next move, along with answering this question right here. Now that we've grown our beautiful leaves, it's cool to ask the question, what powers the water cycle? Well, our answer for that would be the strong sun. So those are our next moves. All right, everyone. Now that we know that the sun powers the water cycle, we can use what we learned before to tell us what'll happen next. Do you remember what'll happen when liquid water is warmed up by the sun? It turns into a gas. So that'll be our next step. We saw that the strong sun is able to move the water cycle, so we will pretend to be that liquid water, just like before, and when we get really, really warm, we start to speed up and get really excited and we become gas water in the air. So that's our next move. Now, let's think about a big mountain. Up at the top, we usually find things like snow and ice, and below, we usually don't find any. So, where do you think it's the coldest? At the top of the mountain or down below? It's the top, of course. It's so cold that when water vapor goes up that high, it starts to get extremely cold and starts coming together to form what we like to call clouds. So that'll be our next step of our dance. So there's gas water all around us. Now, when that gas water gets really high up in the sky, like around the mountains, it starts to get very cold. So all of that gas water slows down and becomes a cloud. So that will be our next dance move. So let's do this all together just so you can practice at home. So we're gonna start with our hands in the air, up in the clouds, and then our hands will become the rain. And that rain will go down into the ground. And after that, the plants will drink up that water and grow beautiful leaves. And then we ask the question, what powers the water cycle? Well, it's the strong sun. And that makes liquid water get really warm and really excited, and it becomes gas water all around us. And then that gas water gets extremely cold and it becomes another cloud. So we can start the water cycle all over again from this very spot. Try it at home and see how fast you can go, or maybe how slow you can go. And try to get your parents or guardians to help you with this dance. Now, we can't dance forever, but did you know that the water cycle has been doing that dance for millions and millions of years? Even back before when the dinosaurs existed, the water was cycling just like we learned about today.
That's why it's important for everyone, including you, to help save and protect as much water as they can, because there's no more new water for us to use.
It's been really fun learning about the water cycle through dance, so I hope that you'll keep practicing and keep learning about the water cycle on your own. This has been Billy from the Waterwise Community Center, and I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.
Stay tuned for 2 more dances of the water cycle.
So let's do this all together just so you can practice at home. So we're gonna start with our hands in the air, up in the clouds, and then our hands will become the rain. And that rain will go down into the ground. And after that, the plants will drink up that water and grow beautiful leaves. And then we ask the question, what powers the water cycle? Well, it's the strong sun. And that makes liquid water get really warm and really excited, and it becomes gas water all around us. And then that gas water gets extremely cold and it becomes another cloud. So we can start the water cycle all over again from this very spot. We're gonna start with our hands in the air, up in the clouds, and then our hands will become the rain. And that rain will go down into the ground. And after that, the plants will drink up that water and grow beautiful leaves. And then we ask the question, what powers the water cycle? Well, it's the strong sun. And that makes liquid water get really warm and really excited, and it becomes gas water all around us. And then that gas water gets extremely cold and it becomes another cloud. So we can start the water cycle all over again from this very spot.